Is it going?
Yep.
Alright, action! Alright, Boaphile here, and I'm going to show you how to put together a Fatt Rack. And this will be our first video of it. I will probably be another generation of videos that shows this much more clearly. Well, by the way, I'm wearing glasses only because I'm blind when I try to read something. But don't tell anybody that I wear these sometimes. Alright? Just your secret and mine. I'm trusting you with it. And the first thing we have to do is we have to put the center panel together. So that's the first thing we're going to show you right now. Alrighty. You say, Boaphile, what are all these parts? How am I going to put this thing together? Well, these are the parts for the Fatt Rack. This is your face. Should be pretty obvious. It's got a door on it. This is your top and your bottom. These will be labeled, so it'll be clear where they go. And then this is the back panel. And what we're going to do is first show you how we put these parts together. Everything goes together very simply. All the holes are already drilled, and it comes with the necessary bolts and wing nuts. And that's what we're going to start on first. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bolt up on your bottom panel. And these are labeled. They are symmetrical, so there isn't just one way that it can go. It can go many ways, so it's simple. Bolt goes in, and your wing nut goes on the inside. The wing nut is something you just use with your fingers. You don't need any kind of a wrench. And then I'm going to pop on this other one. That in the hole. Pop on the wing nut. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And this part where it's notched out gets slid in to this on the front piece. And again, the bolt goes right through the hole and through the bottom piece. Wing nut goes on the inside. Okay, and then put on the other one. Pretty fancy, huh? I need an audience. Okay, there's the bottom. Now the top, we do the same thing. Another panel, it's labeled top. And it's going to go in here. The same way, and then we'll insert the bolts and the wing nuts. And here we're putting in the last bolt. That bolt comes right through, wing nut goes on. We'll just spin that wing nut on. And there you have it, it's all bolted up. We've completed the assembly of the center section. Very simple, no tools. And this is what the center section looks like when it's done. This open end part here is going to be covered by the end of the rack that goes beside it. Same thing with this one over here. Look at that, it's like a magic trick, isn't it? Anyhow, it'll work slick when it's all put together. And basically, that's what the center section is going to look like. And this is the top part, the part with this extra little recess here. We'll show you the reason for that in just a little bit. Now we have the right unit. That was tricky how I did that because this is not my right, it's my left. I had to do the opposite. This is the right unit and the center section. These two are going to get bolted together like so. And that's the next part, which we'll show you next. The easiest way to put this together is to lay it on its back, again, on a flat surface. Carpet is going to give you some grief. Because when you put these two together, if you use carpeting and you get it bolted up, your carpet is going to end up in between this center section and this end panel. It's going to get pinched, and you're going to have trouble tipping it back up again. So a hard surface, or maybe the cardboard box you got this stuff in, would be a good surface to use. So you want both parts on their back. That way all your bolt holes line up nicely. Open your door. And grab your bolts. And your wing nuts. Bolt slides right in the hole. Slickered and silly putty. No, silly putty is not slickered. Slicker than anything. Well, you can tell I spent a lot of time writing this script. And then here's the other one. It's actually a little bit more difficult on the bench than it would be on the floor. Alright, now we've got the center section completely bolted to the right section, still on its back. Then we want to take the left section, set it right next to it, on its back as well. Set that right up there. Hang on a second, don't go anywhere. Okay, that's one bolt. Get another bolt here in the front. Oh, better bring a wing nut. Okay, so there we have both sections completely bolted together to the center section with your door. Now all that remains is to stand it up and put your insulation on. Hang on, I better take this call. Good afternoon, boss. Alrighty. So now we've got, this is a 2x4 Fatt Staxx. Obviously it's 2 wide and it's 4 high. And this one is complete, ready to go. It comes with one piece of styrofoam to go on the side of the rack where your heat is on the bottom of the cage above. So the default position when we send out cages is the left side for the heater. So this would typically come out just sitting on the left side. It just sits in there. It's not bolted or anything. But this helps reflect the heat from that bottom cage back into the heat, so we get as little of it as possible into this drawer space. You don't need additional heat coming in there because, of course, the rack is heated itself. And then it comes with all the drawers. Look at that. There you have it. There's a completed, although dusty because it's in our shop, 2x4 Fatt Staxx RhinoRaXX or something like that. At any rate, this is all complete, ready to go with the door. The other version without the door, the only difference is that your top is going to have a large hole in it so that you can reach in and put in your bolts. So there'll be a hole in the center part of this piece, and it'll just be a framework rather than a full-size sheet because you don't need it. And this additional height here, that again is to accommodate this, what do we call this? Insulation, so that the heat from your cage doesn't overheat this top drawer space. There's your completed rack. Now, when your cage goes on top, you know how our cages, when you align them on each other, there are 2 alignment pins on the top of the cage and on the bottom of the cage that alignment pins go in. Those same alignment pins go in the bottom of the bottom cage, and that bottom cage comes down here, and there's a little slot right here, and a little slot right here that those pins align in, so that they sit on here and they don't slide around either. So I pretty much thought of everything, and there are cords coming off here for your heaters, of course. There's 2 cords, one for the right unit and one for the left. And that pretty much completes the rack. And I hope you found it a simple process to put through, and hopefully semi-entertaining to watch.